A new disease.
I got a new one.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Welcome to the CaveCast,
Sucker. Ow. Yes. What now? B-I-H. Yeah, motherfucker. B-I-H. What? B-I-H.
Bitch.
Yeah. Motherfucking bitch ass mother. What? Shit. I almost.
You just dropped the ball.
Yeah. I almost did it. Just because there's only one thing that follows bitch ass.
Yeah.
And motherfucker ain't it. Welcome back to the CaveCast, ladies and gentlemen. It's episode 32. I am feeling free and no, I'm not. I'm all stuffed up. This program is brought to you by Mucinex yet again. Welp, we're going old school with this one. What's the date today? Shit.
The 20.
1/23. 1/20-something 2015, the third CaveCast of the new year. We're going old school. It's just me and Kynes on this one. What episode was the first one you were on? It was like 3 or something. Episode 3, it was just me and you, right?
I think it was 3 and 4 were both just the two of us.
Sharing a microphone, getting all intimate.
Oh yeah, that's when there was just one microphone.
All we needed was one.
We both went for it at the same time.
Anyways, yeah, we are in the cave. This is the CaveCast, and if you're with us, you're probably the same 6 people that listen every week, and I thank you from the bottom of my nut sack. Singular.
And the top too.
From the bottom to the top of my sack, And I want to start this one off instead of finishing this one by saying if you do listen weekly to the CaveCast, and if you are getting new people to listen to it, which I can see the views, I know, motherfucker, what's going on, and so you're not getting new people.
You guys aren't breaking the first 2 rules of Fight Club, and we need you to.
We need you to tell people about Fight Club, for fuck's sake. So if you enjoy this, and if you have a good time listening to it, and you think that we either are funny or embarrassing ourselves, or politically right or wrong,
right?
We're definitely not politically right, I would say.
I think we might hit the mark every once in a while.
Yeah. You need to tell people about it. Spread the fucking word and get this thing out there, and help us help you.
Right.
So that's all. I'm gonna try to stop saying fuck as much because I don't often listen back to these, but when I do, I use fuck as a comma, and
there's a space between words.
Yeah,
I'm
just
that bad.
Filler time because my mind doesn't work fast enough for the words that I want to come out. So, but I'm turning over a new leaf, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna stop saying the F word as much.
Get the F word out.
I'm gonna say faggot a whole bunch more, but
and the N word.
Yeah, but fuck, butt fuck. I'm keeping it out. So well, let's start off with this American Sniper movie is in the channels of news that I follow. It's vilified. Is that the right word?
This was half and half. Seems to be one half.
You've got.
And then there's the defenders.
You've got the people that went out and bought tiny little American flags after 9/11 and after Bush's fucking rah, 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 we're going to get him speech. All those people are the ones that are raving about this movie being so amazing. And then on the other side of things, I'm hearing the word propaganda being thrown around quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, it's like Rogan said, if you've seen Inglourious Bastards.
Right.
In the movie Inglourious Bastards, which is a Nazi, Nazi movie, Quentin Tarantino, they end up killing everybody watching that movie about the Nazi sniper. Their version of Chris Kyle, they make a movie about him. And, in the movie, he's shooting everybody and all that stuff. It's called Nation's Pride in the movie. So Rogan said, this movie kind of reminds me of that movie in Inglourious Bastards. But he didn't mean, or he says he didn't mean propaganda-wise. He just meant, it's a movie about your best sniper.
Right.
And then, of course, Michael Moore came out and said that he was taught that snipers were cowards.
Yeah. His uncle was killed in World War II or something by a sniper.
And that's, I think, what got the whole thing started, is there's two arguments going on. One, are snipers cowards? And two, is this a propaganda movie?
How do you feel about the first one?
I don't think you could call snipers cowards. For me, for someone who can't even join the military, maybe if you are a guy who's in the military and is not a sniper and does a different job, you might have some footing to call a sniper a coward.
Right.
But if you're somebody who's never even been in the military, I think you calling a sniper a coward is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I think calling anybody that has willingly gone into a situation to where maybe misled, I might throw that one out there, but coward, no.
Yeah.
That is the ultimate form of courage to get out there and be shot at, but get out there where people are actively trying to murder your face.
And coward gets thrown around and used in places where it shouldn't. Mm-hmm. Like even calling Osama bin Laden a coward isn't accurate. He was evil, and he deserved everything he got, as far as bullets in the head and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But calling him a coward
Supposedly.
is almost silly, because let's look at what he did. He could have kicked back the rest of his life and just been a billionaire and lived like one of Saddam Hussein's sons. Just been rich and tortured people and he didn't. He chose to give up his family fortune to fight America.
His beliefs.
Whether you want to call that, evil or misguided or insane or any of those things, fine. But cowardice, no.
Yeah. And the other thing that they're bringing up about this movie is that now you did watch it. So in the beginning the one thing that I keep hearing is that they say this is a true story.
Yeah.
Or how like the movie The Strangers, you remember that one where the people with the scary bag masks on their face?
Yeah, I seen that.
At the beginning of that movie it says based off of true events.
Right.
So I went and looked it up. And instead of being this horror show, fucking, creepy ass movie, it was based on a block that was burglarized over a couple of nights. And they turned it into this fucking crazy thriller of a horror movie.
Right. People think when they see based on true events or based on a real story that means that the director, by law, must have went point for point with reality. Right. But that's not the case. You can put that on any movie. Like Nick Swartzen, the comedian, somebody has a joke like, I want to take a movie like Transformers and put based on a true story at the beginning of it just to freak out the potheads. But
what?
Like, when the fuck did this happen? That's
Get on
insane.
Google right now.
But yeah, that's why I don't even take. It doesn't matter what movie I'm watching anymore. Even when I see that, I assume that there was some artistic,
license taken.
Yeah, I always assume that some points were stretched, and it's already come out that some stuff in American Sniper wasn't there wasn't a guy called the Butcher. They admit they made up the Butcher. Uh-huh. So at least that part is exaggerated.
And I got in a little conversation with my dad this morning about I'm like, don't they find barrels of WMDs in this movie?
No, not in the movie.
Oh, okay.
At least I think he says that in the book, but I haven't read the book.
Okay. Well, okay. I guess that is a major point of contention that it's based off the book.
There's
book
Chris Kyle and
has
what
been
he
proven
says.
wrong.
Right. There's the book, and then there's the movie. Clint Eastwood did a movie based off the book. In the movie that I watched, unless I missed that part, they didn't see a scene where they discovered WMDs.
Yeah. And I feel like what's going on here is the same thing that happens with the word racism being thrown around and Islamophobe. Is that the right word? Islamobomophobe? That's a whole different thing. Islamobomophobe.
I've been accused recently of being Islamophobic.
Okay. So that's kind of what I want to get into is like the racist word seems to be the easy go-to if you are losing an argument that is racial. Now, the Anthony Cumia thing is a little on the extreme side for my beliefs and everything.
Because he is a little racist, whether he wants to admit it or not.
Well, he does admit it. He does.
Yeah.
He openly admits it. I just think he goes a little far with his beliefs sometime in trying to prove his point and run his agenda. I think he doesn't quite look at the whole picture, but
lately especially he's been guilty of taking sides that I think even he's smart enough not to take just because he's so tired of fighting the other side.
Right.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah. And but I feel like if you are a person that only merely tries to point out, like we've done on here before, is that they're definitely a quick jump to violence, not in the black population per se, but in some areas of majority black, and a lot of it is low income, and I understand.
Yeah, there's more violence in neighborhoods with lower income and more struggle, more violence.
Yeah, I understand that there's a feeling of hatred, rage, and anger when you grow up in a system where you don't think there's any way out.
Right.
I've never been in that situation. I've always, held to the belief that I can do it if I put my mind to something. Like there's nothing that can stop me, and I understand that there's some inherent racism that is still rampant in this country.
Definitely.
And but now, then with you criticize this movie, you criticize Chris Kyle for. Let's face it. Being in the situation he was in made him mentally unstable.
Yeah,
and
I had to have.
And I've seen it firsthand. It does. You can't go through some stuff like that,
right?
Physically and mentally, and come out of it unscathed. And a lot of them that I've seen pretend that they are, because they're fed this line of bullshit that you are top 100% killer and fucking you're doing this for your country and blah blah blah. So you basically you speak out against something like this. And whereas you say something about the black population or the Mexican, you say something about certain individuals, bad apples in this, and you're a racist.
Right. You
say something about this movie, then you hate America.
You're anti-troop,
basically.
Anti-American.
Yeah, and you're against the troops. And
that's just go jumping right to the extreme to win the argument. Like,
yeah, and then you criticize the extremist in the Muslim religion, and you're an Islamophobe.
Right. It's just something that people do to just, what do you call it? Like, instead of having a conversation with you or continuing the conversation, it's like the parachute. They just, anytime they want it to be over with or discredit you or just, push you to the side, they just label you.
Can I tell you right now, you kind of look a little Chris Kyle-ish right now. The hat in the stubble, for some reason reminds me of like every picture I've ever seen. Anyway, sorry.
Oh no, the funny thing is that watching the movie, I was like, Bradley Cooper looks weird. Like there's just something wrong with the way he looks. And then I actually looked at a video of Chris Kyle, and I was like, oh, he looks exactly.
He put some weight on.
He pulled it off, right? Yeah. Because what was different was not only did he put on muscle, but he put on muscle and doughiness just to look a little more like Chris Kyle. And I didn't realize he went that far.
He didn't just pull a Joseph Gordon-Levitt in Looper and squint his eyes to look like fucking.
I liked
Bruce
Looper.
Willis. I liked it too.
As bad as
just squish your face up a little bit. And
yeah, you could tell most of that was just he's just like trying to do his best Bruce Willis face.
Exactly. And I dig the effort, I guess,
Yeah.
But and same with Bradley Cooper.
The only problem I had with Bradley Cooper's Chris Kyle was that
he's so beautiful.
He played it a little bit too close. Like he's so rednecky and Texan, and that he almost comes off dumb. And Kyle, and in hearing Chris Kyle in interviews, Chris Kyle actually came off a little smarter.
You heard it here first, folks. Kyle thinks that all Texas people, all people that live in Texas.
Well, I'll admit this. There's something about the like Southern drawl. You know?
Oh my God, is that not the quintessential dumb voice you can do?
That's all I'm saying is like you could be Neil deGrasse Tyson, but if you have a Southern drawl, I'm gonna drop your IQ points.
Welcome to the cosmos,
Right.
everybody.
We're gonna talk about black holes.
See the universe. It doesn't take much. Fucking, I felt like Nancy Grace just now.
Exactly.
The universe has been kidnapped and is probably in a trunk somewhere getting ready to be raped.
We're calling it universe nap.
Hashtag universe nap. But
yeah, I hate her.
so, and I've got an uncle that he didn't serve in the military over there, but he spent the majority of, my Uncle Jeff that called in.
Yeah.
He spent the majority of, 5 or 6 years, I believe, over in Afghanistan training Afghani police and whatnot.
And troops probably.
Yeah, and so, and I didn't really know a whole lot about it. And we went to a birthday dinner a week ago or so, and they had just seen the movie, and my uncle's new girlfriend was sitting there like shaking her head, kind of disgusted, like about the child killing and the
first scene of the movie, man.
Yeah,
is a mother and a son.
And she wasn't about it, and I know that my uncle and my dad, like, they feel like all of Islam is the enemy, I think, because of this. And here's my stance on it.
Yeah.
Is that just I really feel like if there was a way to, and I always go back to force feeding people hallucinogens.
Yeah.
If there was a way to show every Christians, Muslims, Jews, they do their own thing. They stick to their own people, and they tend to, other than, Israel. That's, I guess
but I agree. Just on the Jew thing, I have the same kind of feeling towards the Jews that you were just kind of expressing, which is
you only go to them when you need your taxes done.
They're a religion, and they're but they're out of all of them, out of the religions that are a problem, and Judaism is in that. They're the least. Yeah. Because they at least sit and debate their own religion too. Right. That's one good thing about Judaism is they sit and constantly question their own.
They're not necessarily as heaven and hell based as both of the other ones are.
Right. It's more about lifestyle.
Everybody goes to heaven. All Jews goes to heaven.
Right. They're chosen.
Yeah. They just have to spend a little time in purgatory, whatever that may be. But I just feel like if you eliminate God from all of these situations, things would not help but get better. Right. Like, you've got one group killing people because that's what their God says to do. All the infidels. But then you've got a sect of Muslims that don't act on that necessarily, but maybe they deep down believe it. Because
the problem I see is that too many of them are extreme. Yeah. I wouldn't sit here and say that every Islam Muslim is a problem. That would be racist. Yeah. Or Islamophobic. What my argument would be, or I guess what I would like to see happen is that the real moderate Muslims in Islam, they do something about their extremists.
You don't see a whole lot of that, right?
Yeah, and there's too much of the extreme. There's too much of the extreme side, and there's too much support and not enough admonishment from the moderate side against the extreme side. And just saying that sounds probably fair enough to most people. The way I just put it, just saying that labels me a xenophobe, and it's ridiculous. It's gotten to the point now where if you don't. If somebody disagrees with you or is threatened by what you say just a little bit, you get immediately labeled whatever the worst thing they can think of regarding that topic is. So if you're talking about children, they'll just call you a child molester out of nowhere just because they don't. they don't agree with you on spanking.
Yeah.
Or, it just, it's,
Yeah, is it really
goes
fair?
right to
Is it
the
really fair
extreme.
that kids are getting sexier and sexier, and we're just noticing it? That's all.
I mean, yeah, if that pumpkin didn't want it, why was it smiling at me? Like,
shouldn't have dressed that way.
but yeah, Islam, there's a huge problem, obviously. I mean, like Bill Maher said, if you read a headline in the news that says cartoonist shot for portraying religious figure, and I asked you to guess which religion it was, and I told you I'd give you $500 if you guessed right, everybody would say this. There's a reason that you would know who the.
I'm immediately gonna go, what's the answer? Because this one's too obvious.
Right.
He's trying to trick me right now with this obvious Muslim answer.
If I could do something as vague as say, that, and you can guess the religion, there's a problem in that religion. That's as simple as it is.
Yeah.
There is a problem in the Islamic world. The argument, though, between the two sides is, like, you have Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins, and they blame it all on the dogma. It's all about the religious text and the dogma.
I love that movie.
And the problems that
Chris
it causes.
Rock killed it.
He was awesome in it.
Can't believe anybody would have a problem with that movie and blame that.
Well,
for
you know
something.
what I mean.
Oh, okay.
The dogma.
Yeah.
The words in their old books. And then there's the other side that says, no, these people are not doing this because of their religious texts. They're doing it because of they're poor, and because we've turned their country into a war-torn area, and they're just using the religious text as an excuse to do these things.
Sounds a little similar to poverty-stricken areas in America and slavery.
Right.
And
that's it's an interesting debate, because you got, like, one side is saying that this is religious extremism at its worst, and you got another side saying no, this is just what happens when you get an unstable area and all they have to turn to is religion.
Right.
Either way, though, I think what you're saying at the end of the day is that their book is a fucking problem, because if their religious texts support their behavior, then it's a problem. There's just no way around that. It doesn't mean that we go in there. I would never advocate that we get rid of religion by force. I think that
I don't think it's possible. I don't think you can.
Even if it was, even if I could hit a button and just kill everybody that was religious, which would be horrible, obviously. I wouldn't do it. I would rather. I think if you look at, with the exception of Islam right now, just because I think just to tie that last part up, I think it's a combination of all things that they're talking about. But the best way to do it is just the way we've been doing it, which is argue.
Why not have the conversation?
Because more and more atheists.
Yeah.
Every year, there's more and more atheists. So what we want is what we're accomplishing what we want, and we're doing it just by making people feel stupid for what they believe,
and here is my problem with all of those. With you could go with any of those big three religions, and then you could go racially with it too. Is a lot of people are unwilling to have the conversation.
Right.
That's, like I said, that's the conversation ender. When you're having a conversation with a Christian, which you know well, they tend to, once you go, oh, I just made a really good point.
Yeah.
Like, how can they do that? Then they throw a conversation ender in there and be like, well, you're going to hell. You know,
well,
like, I pray for you. I'm going to pray. There it is right there.
You're doing the devil's work.
Yeah, I'm going to pray for you. Right. And the conversation's over. Or you're a racist and the conversation's over. Or
it always degrades down to
or
that.
You're unpatriotic and, okay, well, there's the, like, why can't we just continue without calling those kind of names that are a period at the end of...
I think it's because people aren't used to having these conversations and debates, and they let their emotions and their frustration get a hold of them. Because if you watch professional debates,
right,
sometimes you're surprised that the other guy didn't slap the other guy for what he said. But the other guy just handles it in stride. Just goes, oh,
I love watching old Ron Paul debates.
Or Sam Harris or Hitchens or any of these guys when they debate, religious people or anything. Even the other side, the religious side, Sam Harris or Hitchens would say something really hard hitting and even mean spirited, and the other guy, being a professional debater, just takes it in stride and brings out his points. it's hard for the average person to do that because they can't. They don't realize that when you let your emotions take over, you actually lose.
And you end up with like I always go back to is that Patrice O'Neill on Fox News thing where it's like, oh, she in her argument just fucking went headfirst into a brick wall,
right?
And just went, "You are a fool."
Right. She degraded
you
down
sir
to name
are
calling.
a fool.
And that's when you know you win.
Not very nice person.
But that's what like. So when citizens argue against each other, it basically degrades down to who can get the other person mad first.
Right.
And when somebody feels themselves getting mad, they go right to the nuclear bomb, you're a racist button to try to make the other person lose. And it's just ridiculous. It just usually the conversation should end there because it's not going any further after that.
And also here's the deal is like I feel like we're two birds, you know, where you're probably not the funnest dude to argue with.
No, I wouldn't want to argue with me.
And I feel the same way. I know I'm not the, you know.
Right.
But during those arguments, it is sometimes hard for me to scurry around doing that. Where I could say this, but I know, and it would still be furthering my point, but I also know that it would be a conversation ender and we wouldn't get anywhere with it.
Right, I do that too.
I feel like I would win. I would win but I try hard not to do that. I try to calmly explain what, no, let's back up because you just said, you know, like this and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
That
is what's going on.
It's a dance, you know.
With the Chris Kyle, the Chris. Now, as far as the propaganda thing, because they're saying two things. They're saying there's two arguments. Are snipers cowards? Well, we already addressed that. No, they're not. That's just stupid. You don't get to call.
You heard it on the CaveCast.
You don't get to call a sniper a coward unless you've at least been in the military.
Here's the deal about that. I just want to make one point and cut you off for 1 second. Is yes, you are not like Civil War status sitting, you know, on the front line just being shot at.
Yeah.
But you're in a place where if they find out where you're at, you could
your
get
target
RPG, fucking airstrike. You know, it's not a fucking. And I've always like had a soft spot for. There's just something cool about picking somebody off from a mile away.
They always romanticize the snipers in the movies. I mean, and you're right. As soon as you hit somebody as a sniper, as soon as you take out one guy in an area, your target number one.
Oh, did we see a muzzle flash in that window?
You have to get rid of the sniper before you can go any further because he's the number one threat.
Yeah. And the you know, from the other way around, Ramon, who's been in here, you know, we've talked a little bit of military with Moni.
I liked that stuff too.
And that's why I like having him on because he's not brainwashed anymore.
No, he does. He seems to be the perfect sort of person.
He's right in the middle.
Pose these questions.
It bugs him, you know. If I wouldn't burn a flag right in front of him. I told him you would burn a flag. This was fresh out the military, and you would burn a flag, wouldn't you? Because you know we always had these debates, and we're friends, so we can get away with it. If I was somebody else, he probably would have hit me before.
Right.
And I always tell him, if I was cold and that was all I had to make a fire with, fuck yeah, I would. And he got mad at me. And that made me have a thought that, okay, maybe it won't be to the extreme of the Jesuits fucking Charlie Hebdo thing.
Right.
But that is our Muhammad. The American flag is USA's Muhammad.
I'd think so.
Because if you do something about Muhammad, you draw Muhammad getting butt raped by a donkey in front of a Muslim, a devout Muslim, they're probably going to commit some sort of violence on you.
Yeah.
And you'll end up with your head somewhere different than where your body's at.
Right.
But if I were to pull a flag down and wipe my ass with it in front of 70% of this country, I feel like there would be pretty extreme violence done to me for
you'd have
merely trying to get the shit out from between my butt cheeks.
Right. I think so. It's a pretty good comparison. I mean, because both sides are going to react like they're gonna react violent in the same case, pretty much.
Yeah, so I really like, you can't, nobody has anything to say when it comes to that. It's not the same, you know, but you gotta look at yourself first before you start criticizing, because we got the same thing. That American flag is a big deal to a lot of people.
Yeah, it is.
And
the propaganda part, though, I think both sides, either way you look at it, might be kind of right. Like, things can be propaganda without even meaning to be propaganda. You can always use something in that way. Like, Clint Eastwood directed the movie.
Yeah.
And I think even produced it and turned it from a book to a movie. But I think...
They said that, yeah.
I don't think that Clint Eastwood, based on watching the movie, necessarily had propaganda in mind. But maybe other people did. And they knew that the movie could be used that way. But the people that were like Bradley Cooper and Clint Eastwood, the guys that went into it making it, I think they really might have made it just to show the story.
Well,
but then again, there's some stuff in the movie that they added that you're like, why would they add that? You know, like the stuff about the butcher.
Yeah. I just received a note, and it was a very good note.
Oh, sweet.
Yes. So
you have to see the movie, and that's why actually it'd be fun to have Ramon in to have him talk about.
I think
there's so many things
that might
in the
get
movie.
more extreme than the Des Bryant catch argument.
See, more than
which was a catch.
The
by the
propaganda. I was bothered by simple, just he calls his wife from the battlefield about 7 times in the movie.
Not possible.
Exactly.
Not possible.
I get more irritated about things like that than this being a raw propaganda film. Like, there's at least, no exaggeration, at least 5 times.
If that movie was set in space, then fucking Neil deGrasse Tyson would be all over that shit.
There's one scene where he's looking through the scope, right? He's in sniper position.
Yeah.
He's got crosshairs on Haji's, and he's talking to his wife dirty. Or his wife's getting ready to talk dirty to him on a sat phone.
She's hitting the crossfader, flicking the bean.
Well, she's about ready to, and then of course this scene happens more than once. He's talking to his wife. They're all being cutesy. Then a firefight breaks out, and
it was a firefight.
And she starts screaming because she can hear the war happening on the phone. That happens at least 2 times.
Wait, was she coming or?
No, well,
she's screaming.
She didn't even get to the DJ diddling yet before the fight broke. And I'm just like, I know they have sat phones, but would you really be calling?
Not everybody has a fucking sat phone.
And he did at all times, it seemed like, because he was constantly calling her on the battlefield, and she's like listening to them having shootouts. And I just want to ask somebody like Ramon, like, is that possible? Is that accurate? And then there's another scene which I wanted to ask him about. So there's these Marines. They're about ready to breach a door of a building and break into the building and sweep it. Mm-hmm. Well, Chris Kyle is watching it, and he decides he's going to leave his sniper post, and he's going down there to show them how to properly sweep a building as a Navy SEAL.
We're gonna have to bring Ramon in to just
I was thinking
this.
of Ramon when I saw it. I was thinking I would like to love in that moment to have asked Ramon. So when you guys were breaking into
just
those
procedurally, I want him to break it down.
Like, would a Navy SEAL really? And he does. He comes down and he asks them for permission. He goes, "Hey, would you guys mind if I joined you on this one?" And then he goes, "How about you let me take the lead, and I'll show you a few things that'll make it a little easier."
Dude.
And then he takes the lead and goes in and shows them how it's done.
Yeah, the best sniper in the military. They're gonna let him. That's not how things work.
This is an example of stuff that's in the movie, man. It drove me nuts.
Yeah. Okay.
But then again, I also don't know. Like, is it totally possible that a SEAL team sniper member could drop his post, run down, and show?
No, they got
Marines how to sweep.
There's different pay grades.
and in the scene, he's on the other. So there's the line of Marines. Here's the door, right?
Yeah.
Here's all the Marines, and then here's Chris Kyle on this side, and Chris Kyle goes. Like he does Navy SEAL sign for somebody to come.
And they're
up.
like, we don't.
And they're like, what's that mean? One of the guys goes, what's that mean? And the dude up front goes, Miggs, you're up. And
like Jack Black in Saving Silverman,
exactly.
doing the Navy SEAL sign. All I know is the Air Force ones.
So there's some stuff like that
over.
Right. there's some stuff like that where being a civilian, I go, that seems stupid, but I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I would like to ask, like, have Ramon tell you.
I do want to do a full
I have
breakdown.
a
I wish you would
sneaky
have come.
suspicion that he would be like, no, we didn't have any SEALs fly down from the rooftops and be like, this is how you clean this building out.
Here you
guys.
go, motherfuckers. Since
Right.
you guys are all untrained and unexperienced. No, that, and before anybody fucking tries to jump on me for being critical of this movie and what it means, and I will go as far as calling it propaganda, because
Yeah, I think it could be.
we've already covered Islam. We know that there's problems there, but this rah thing, it's the same thing that happened in 9/11, like I said, with Bush's thing in the buying of this tiny little American flags and everything. Somebody got rich off that. Somebody saw those planes hitting and we're going, cha-ching, get on the printer. Let's make these flags up.
We need magnets, bumper stickers.
Yeah.
Whatever you can think of.
Car flags, fucking anything red, white, and blue with stripes on it and stars. And yeah, and they're sitting pretty right now. But, and I, Ramon, who's one of my best friends, is the first one to call me a fucking anti-American,
Yeah.
But here's the thing, is I supported him the entire way. I wrote him multiple letters. His time served over in Iraq and Afghanistan. I did talk to him on a sat phone twice, I think.
Yeah.
In, let's see, you go 7 months at a time. So in 14 months of service,
Right.
not right in line, but 7 months and then 7 months.
Right.
I talked to him, I think, twice or maybe 3 times. It was a family thing where his mom would call me and be like, we all got to get together. He's going to call.
Right.
And I think there was one time that he called that we just bullshitted, and he called my phone, I've had the same phone number for fucking 15 years, so pretty easy to remember. But, I supported my troop
Right.
as much as possible.
The one that you knew.
And I
personally.
sent him a Mortal Technique and Brother Ali CDs while he was in Iraq, which are both severely anti-government. And the funny thing about that is his staff sergeant, who was from somewhere in Africa, real, like African guy, not South African with a Australian English accent, white guy. No, he was fucking, and he was a staff sergeant, and he's even got an accent, but he is all about America and all about, the military and the American way and everything.
Right.
And the funny thing was, his favorite band all throughout their service time until Moni dropped a bomb on him. Not an actual bomb, like verbal knowledge bomb. His favorite band was Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, wow.
and it would get him psyched up before they would go on missions and stuff. And eventually Moni goes, hey, Staff Sergeant, because he didn't, English was not his first language.
He just didn't pay attention to the lyrics too much.
Swahili and he goes, listen, dude, this might not be what you think it is.
Yeah. Yeah, Rage is probably the ultimate, right?
And he was totally the fucking name is Rage Against the Machine.
But it would be good rile you up music.
Though. Oh yeah, I always think about if I was a professional fighter, what song I would come out to, and 9 out of 10 of those songs are probably
Rage has got that.
Against
Rage
the
has got that good like fucking football, like right before a football game music or something. So I could see that too though.
Yeah. So I don't want to see the movie. I can't get myself to care.
For anybody that hasn't seen it yet,
yeah,
I would say as far as just war movies go,
right?
Let's just take out.
Let's take out the implications and
take out the reality of did this happen, did this not happen. It's not that good of a war movie, in my opinion. As far as like Hurt Locker, Saving Private Ryan, The Pacific, Band of Brothers, I wouldn't say this is a must see. I wouldn't.
Right.
Just as a war movie.
What are the best war movies?
There's That's quite
Saving Private Ryan is up there for me.
Yeah.
Like, that's got to be.
Saving Private Ryan is one of the kings for sure.
I want to tell you people right now something that I've never admitted to anybody. I have never watched the movie Apocalypse Now.
Well, that's not unforgivable.
It's not?
No.
Okay.
In my opinion, just because I've seen it, and it's so long. There's something about those older war movies.
Does it hold up? It doesn't hold up?
Parts?
Yeah.
Yeah, you might have some problems with parts of it. I mean, these days.
What was the one with Willem Dafoe?
That was Platoon.
Platoon. Okay. Now that one I've seen bits and pieces. I always caught it on
With Charlie
TV.
Sheen.
Yeah.
And well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads. The fucking Bargs or Barnes, I think is his name, the main guy.
Just a little bit of that movie that I did catch on TV before. It's like,
Platoon's
holy shit, all these sayings come from this movie, you know?
I prefer Platoon over Apocalypse.
It's a good day to die or something, you know?
Yeah.
It looks like a good day to die.
That character, the guy who's opposite William Dafoe, I can't remember the actor's name. But his name's Barnes in the movie, I think.
Oh, it's
he's got the scars on his face.
yeah, he's in The Substitute.
Yep,
and
that
it's
dude.
God damn it, it's got a girl name or something.
That scene where he says that, where I'd like to hear about it, potheads, where they're talking shit about him, and
Jesus.
he comes in all drunk. I would recommend Platoon before Apocalypse Now, and I know there's people that would probably slap me for saying that, like film buffs, but I liked even lesser ones, like what was it called? We Were Soldiers
Sounds about
with
familiar.
Mel Gibson, the Vietnam movie. I thought that was cool.
And what little bit there was has always been memorable to me is Dead Presidents, the Vietnam, and obviously Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Like both of those movies, not all based on the
Right.
war.
Yeah, there's
but
some movies that just have a little bit in it.
the war scene. I cannot listen to a CCR song without thinking about helicopters coming up over the jungle.
Well, that's the funny thing.
Meow, meow.
I think it was Hurt Locker where they're all sitting there, and no, that was maybe Jarhead, and they're playing. Somebody puts on CCR, and he's like, "We don't even get our own war music." He's complaining. He's like, "This is Vietnam music. Like our war doesn't even have its own soundtrack. This is
Nothing but
bullshit."
songs against the war. Nothing but.
Right.
You could find all kinds of those, but nobody's raw. Moni served with a dude he's a rapper, and he made a couple of Marine type songs that, you know, they're actually not bad, you know, and
Right on.
they're not necessarily. I do remember there's two guys in his unit
Right.
that were rappers, and both black dudes. One guy was black and Filipino. He called himself the last Nigapino, which I always thought was fucking funny. But the other guy, back in the days of MySpace, was when all this was going on, and he had his music up there. You go to it to listen to it, and it says United States Marine Corps, and then below it says, "Yeah, I know I'm an Uncle Tom nigga, but whatever." I always thought that was fucking. They both had a good sense of humor about it, and it was.
That's one thing I've learned from watching some of the documentaries I've watched.
Yeah.
Like Restrepo and the follow-up to Restrepo, is these guys, they're not what I pictured. It's like they're more like my friends if they went to war than I
Right.
thought they were. You know, I always pictured the sort of guy that willingly went to war was kind of a certain way, but I was like, they're every different kind of person you
Yeah.
can imagine. I mean,
In my whole life, I was borderline. I did think seriously about joining the service
too.
for a long time. But then I also thought about somebody screaming in my face for not really doing anything super wrong.
Right.
Just to break my spirit. And that's...
And hearing Chris Kyle in interviews, he comes off kind of like Ramon does.
Yeah.
Like he's just kind of like, he understands why people have their opinion,
Uh-huh.
but he's kind of like, this is my opinion, and you know, and I did it for these reasons. I get, you know, everybody, yeah, I can see why you're against the war or whatever, but this is why I did what I did. And
Yeah, now leave me alone so I can lose my best friend in Vegas.
Right.
Because that's where... they all blend together. So, yeah, I mean...
not every guy what I'm saying is like, not every dude that's in the war is Yeah, America's number one. We don't do anything wrong, and fucking if you're against the war, you should die. Like, not every guy's like that. Every guy understands there's gray areas.
There was a Twitter thread that based on the Rogan podcast with Ari and Duncan. Can I just say, I absolutely, and it's not just because between the two of us we make a full ball sack.
Yeah.
But I love Duncan Trussell.
Yeah, Duncan's
that
pretty
guy.
special.
He's keeps being funny while being also very peaceful and positive, and it warms my heart, to hear his little, like he says, raspy lesbian voice.
Yeah.
But there was a thing where somebody said, "Nice job fucking criticizing an American soldier today, fuckers," blah blah blah. And then Rogan says nothing, but Ari goes, "We criticized, this and this," and he's doing arguing points while Duncan Trussell is going, fucking basically saying like, well, Jesse Ventura was a troop. You don't support the troops.
Yeah.
# support the troop, and just kind of, making a mockery of that similar argument where you can't, it's not a blanket thing,
right,
that you can lay over all of it. It's like, yeah, the same with cops. That's another thing that, you criticize one cop, people think you're criticizing all of them.
Or you criticize one problem in the police community.
Yeah.
You all of a sudden you're anti-cop.
Point out one group. There's not
right.
one group that's devoid of bad apples is all there is.
That's going to be the big issue in 2015, I think, is going to be the PC police and jumping to calling people extreme things because you don't agree with them. That's like the number one problem.
And those are the people that are afraid of having the conversation.
And it's because we're getting our cues, our social cues from how the media behaves and how they talk when they're on Fox News and stuff. That's how people are treating each other when they're talking.
Yeah.
So,
dude, we went 45 minutes on this one topic.
That's insane.
Me and you, I think we could do 7-hour podcasts just, but we're going to take a break right now.
Fuck yeah.
And when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit of Marshawn Lynch. We're going to talk a little bit of Conor McGregor. They don't think like I think. They don't move like I move. The featherweights in this division, they can't handle being hit by me.
You watch too many of those videos, man.
Dude, I love knuckle videos. Yeah, you get your family out there. I'll get mine. We'll have a couple beers and smack you in the mouth. Okay, we'll be right back. Here's a word from our sponsors. And hey, real sponsors, anytime you want to pick up the phone, give me a buzz, shoot me an email. You know where to find me.
Anybody.
Be right back. I'm saying anybody.
We'll support
if you make wooden crosses soaked in gasoline,
Wait, we don't know what you're using them for.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like what's I have no idea, but I'll hook you up with a little shout out. And if you make fucking if you make child size sex dolls,
yeah.
Shoot me a figure.
You pay double.
Shoot me a figure. We'll talk. All right. Word from our sponsor. We'll be right back. Marcus, sometimes I wake up in the morning feeling so good about myself, I don't have a care in the world, other than breakfast. But I'm too goddamn important to have to cook these waffles myself. What should I do?
Well, Danny, do I have an alternative for you? Eat Ego Waffles is part of your unbalanced, hardly nutritious breakfast packed full of self-righteousness and or self-hatred. You'll never make it to the top without the assistance of a pile of metaphoric corpses to accompany you step by step to remind yourself that you're good enough, you're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like you, as long as you have something to offer. So eat Ego Waffles and stroke that ego till you love yourself.
Ego Waffles is a trademark of nothing. This is not a real product, so if you order Ego Waffles today, you should also order a one-time dose of cyanide so you can kill yourself. Adverse side effects of Ego Waffles include short-sightedness, the illusion that people like you, tunnel vision, and dying alone.
Adverse side effects of cyanide include death.
I like this beer.
All right, we are back from the break, and ladies and gentlemen, have I got a surprise for you. He must have felt his ears burning. His brown sunburnt from working in somebody's yard all day, ears burning. Ramon Perez back on the podcast. Welcome.
I like to think of it as tall, dark, and mediocre.
Comes in killing. Fuck, man. Like, I'm so excited because we just got done. Like, we're obviously not done talking about it, but we spent this whole 45 minutes wishing you were here, and now you're here. You just showed up magically, and you're gracing us with your presence.
You're welcome.
So a couple things that we just want to go over, and it's not gonna. I mean, if the CaveCast is all based on this, I'm okay with it. It's good conversation. But there's a couple things. Kynes watched the movie, and we kind of wanted a little input just on procedural things that kind of stood out to him as like, I don't know if they would do it that way.
That's just stuff I don't have enough information about, and it's silly stuff. Like, there's a scene. There's more than one scene. There's like 4 or 5 scenes where he's in real combat, but he's talking to his wife on a sat phone, like, and she's hearing the explosions and the firefight. I mean, this happens 2 or 3 times in the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
where he's posted up behind his rifle.
like he calls her at least 5 times in the middle of pretty hardcore combat. And I'm like, do you have that sort of access to a sat phone, or it's just simple stuff like that? And there's another one too.
Well, you said he was a SEAL, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think SEALs maybe because they get all like the high tech gear because they do the black ops and shit. So
So
he might need to
actually
get hold
have-
of somebody like quick because they probably don't even carry a radio because radios are bulky.
Right.
And with SEALs or in a small man team, I don't think you'd want to carry a radio. We call it sniper bait when you're carrying radio.
Right.
As far as it goes, when I was in,
Is that because it makes noise, or is that because...
No, because of the antenna. When we're patrolling, we try to keep it down with a rubber band, but we have to call in a pause rep every 30 minutes. So every 30 minutes, we have to call to headquarters or our fob and let them know that where we're at. And this to event-friendly fire, let us know where other units are at. And if we can't get a pause rep every 30 minutes, say we can't get through on comm, which tends to happen sometimes, we have to actually start regressing back to the fob until we get comm again, and then we'll go out again. As far as a satellite phone goes, where I was at in Iraq as just a basic infantry Marine, we had one sat phone, and it was on the fob, and the line was way too long, and if you're infantry, you're consistently leaving the wire, so it wasn't worth waiting in line.
Which is what I remember from when you were in. Was it would be a family get together. Your mom would call people and be like, Moni's supposed to call.
Yeah.
If you want to talk to him, come here and we can pass the phone around, and that's what we did. Yeah. Basically.
Well, it's because you can't find time. I think I called my ex-wife maybe twice in my whole combat. My mom maybe once or twice.
Right.
Yeah. It was at least twice, because I remember there was a couple of where I went over to her house just so we could.
Well, and two, I'm in a certain mindset when I'm over there. I'm not wanting to think about home.
Yeah.
I got way too much time left to be thinking about home. You know what I mean? Now, yes, when it comes toward the end of the deployment, I'll try to call a little bit more. But as for me, being a squad leader or whatever, I'm worried about my Marines. I know you guys are safe over here. Yeah. I need to be worried about my Marines, not on what's going on over here. Sat phones, Navy SEALs, probably.
So he might have been just high up enough that he had one at all times.
Yeah, I would assume a SEAL.
No,
because they're such a small team operation. Unless they're sometimes there's been a couple of times where I've been tagged with the SEAL unit, but all we really do is it's a need to know basis. You go into the briefing room, they'll tell you what you need to know as far as they won't even tell if these guys are SEALs, but you can tell.
Yeah. Right.
And your main job is just really to hold security for them, to watch the area, make sure no one's coming in what they're trying to do. So usually when you get nope, I'm not breaking no laws. But,
it's okay. Actually, the CaveCast has written consent from the United States government to...
But usually when we have an HVT, a high-value target, if they're up there, you'll still... All of a sudden, a team comes around, and you're just told to keep security for them. Because, again, they work in a small man group, so... you know, you're not just going to send a couple of guys out for an HVT with no security. So
Right.
a Marine unit will get attached, and our job is mainly to keep a cordon around the area that they're going through, and then if ship comes down and the firefight starts, then we'll start clearing buildings, you know.
Right.
Well, maybe that was kind of what was going on with my other question then.
Yeah.
Because there's a scene where they're supposed to clear 10 buildings an hour.
Yeah.
Because they're after Zakawi. They're in an area where they think Zakawi is.
Yeah.
Or however you pronounce his name.
Al-Zarqawi.
Yeah, and Chris Kyle is in his sniper position, and there's Marines that are sweeping the buildings, and he sees one particular group that's having trouble or something like that, and so he leaves his post and goes down and basically tells the Marines, kind of step aside, let me show you how to clear a building properly. And I had issue with that, watching it, like, not knowing also, like, would that really happen? Would a SEAL really leave his sniper post, come down, take over your Marine team that's cleaning house and show you how it's done?
I've never heard of it. I'm not going to say it couldn't happen,
Right.
but I would tell you, I'd probably get my ass whipped, but I would give that SEAL my best shot if he came down and told me I wasn't clearing my fucking houses right.
And these Marines were so, like, in the movie scene, were so happy that the legend was coming down to help them clear buildings.
Well, he does got a pretty big name in the military,
Right.
but at the same time, in my experience, I've never ran into any infantry Marines that weren't well trained in clearing buildings.
That's what I
That's
thought
our
watching
number
it.
one.
Yeah. That seems to be
we
the
trained pretty
MO.
hard on that for a
Yeah.
long time.
So they might have taken a scenario where, like you were talking about before, where you guys did some stuff in tandem or helped each other out.
Yeah, I mean, we do joint
but then
stuff.
exaggerated it as though he helped them.
It's movie. It's
Right.
I mean, yes, it's true
That's what I was
story,
getting
and
at.
I'm not taking nothing away from the sniper. I'm just saying, you know, in reality, compared, there's always going to be a little bit of movie magic behind any
Right.
movie you watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, do they do the Ventura scene in the movie?
What's that?
With a AT4.
The Jesse Ventura?
Oh no, they didn't touch on that.
Okay.
They didn't touch on him punching
Probably
out.
not, since he just won a fat lawsuit against him, and
They don't touch on a lot of that outside stuff.
so it's not basically based on the book. It's more.
Yeah, it's more of like Clint Eastwood or whoever produced it took his overall story and then cherry picked
Yeah.
a narrative.
Like scenes and
Right.
Yeah. Well, like you got to appeal to the audience.
So here's the last question I think that we had. I don't know if Kynes has any more, but now when you did get the because there's a scene where, I mean, he is on a mission basically, but he's dirty talking his wife, and she's getting ready to, you know, flick the bean, you know, and they get in a firefight. When you got your time on a sat phone and you called your ex-wife, was there any, like, were you guys trying to
No,
dirty talk, or
because-
were you just catching up, sort of?
No, the sat phone was in the chow hall, so
So people, if you
People
start
are
whip your
right
dick out
there
and start
with-
jacking
yeah,
off while
I
people are
mean,
eating, they kind
Marines
of
are
frown
pretty
upon it.
dirty sons of bitches, but we're not that bad.
Oh, there's Moni. He's just fucking jacking off
the-
again in the
that's
chow
funny that
hall.
you say that about his wife, because there was one time I was on the phone with my mom, and
Whoa, where's this going?
oh yeah, get it right up together. No, our fob that we were in, it was real small. We were right smack dab in the middle of the city, and at this time, the city was not a good city.
Right.
And our actual mission in there was to berm off the whole city, make 2 ECP entry control points for people, and 1 VCP vehicle control checkpoint where we have face recognition.
Oh shit.
And so in the middle of this fob, in this middle of this shitty city, we got mortared every day. Like literally every freaking day we got mortared. That's why we stuck inside the buildings when we were there. And then this is not a very big fob, and there was a few times where they ate up our vehicles, and we couldn't even go out in Humvees because our vehicles were down. But there was one time I was on the phone with my mom and mortar went off. I'm like, shit. And I just called her, said one like scary. I'm like, Mom, I gotta go.
Yeah.
So what was that? And I'm like, oh, it's just a bookshelf.
We're watching a movie. We're just watching Saving Private Ryan.
No, they tried that. They tried not watching Save Private Ryan, but they tried hooking us a TV up.
Yeah.
And they did manage to get us because we didn't get resupplied a lot because one of the roads that was traveled on Iraq at that time was one of the second highest IED roads in Iraq at that time.
Yeah.
And they were able to get us a TV out there. They hooked a satellite up. We were going to watch the Super Bowl. We were all stoked, like, hell
fun.
yeah. Got mortared. Hit her damn satellite.
Oh no!
You want to see a bunch of pissed off Marines? Man. I think everybody wanted to leave the wire that night.
Yeah, I bet. That's funny. The Super Bowl, huh?
Yeah.
Who you remember? What Super Bowl?
Oh shit! It would have to been.
I know.
Maybe Patriots and Giants. I think
2004.
It had to be like Nah, it couldn't have been them. It would have been.
I'm just guessing.
Been like 06, 07.
Okay.
But,
yeah. I would have got that question wrong on Trivia Crack.
Apparently you're my kryptonite on
taking
Trivia
over
Crack.
my life. By the way, Trivia, thank you very much for fucking giving me a new addiction. And everybody in this house, Marcus, my girlfriend.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, I dominate except for you. I swear to God, you're my fucking kryptonite.
Really, the guy that helped you get through high school, you expect anything less.
He doesn't know what he's talking about, Mom.
The guy. Oh yeah, I forgot she listened. The guy that cheated off you all through high school, because I want to thank you publicly right now for that. And the other thing, which I guess we talked about it off mic, but the calling snipers cowards thing, is there any of that in the Marines where you guys look at them differently?
No. No.
That's
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard to call a sniper a coward. For one, they're operating in like 4-man teams. All right, I got a team of 12 plus 2 other squads I can call on, and sometimes all 3 go out together.
Right.
So you're looking at quite a bit of Marines together. Mm-hmm. Now, how the hell are you going to call a sniper a coward when there's only fucking 4 of them in a building?
Right.
And there ain't no security around them. They can call us, our QRF, Quick Reaction Force, and we can get there fairly quick. But, I mean, for example, there was an incident in Iraq where 4 snipers were in a post, and they were supposed to be switching off.
Yours or their? Yours?
No. I can't say, but
okay. Ours or theirs?
Our snipers. Okay. And they snuck up. The guy that was supposed to be on fire watch fell asleep, and they snuck in and killed all 4 of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean, you can't call a sniper a coward. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
I think so too.
I mean,
and I'm not even being military, just on the outside.
Right.
And especially like he also said. And I also said earlier, which is if you're not even in the military, like you saying that is even more ridiculous.
You should be at least punched in the mouth.
Who gives you the right to say that if you don't have no idea what you're talking about?
This is a guy that actually is there doing something.
Yeah.
How could you call him a coward compared to you?
Because there's always got to be somebody,
right?
Whether it's a movie, whether what it is, there's always that asshole that's got to say something.
And that's where, like me and you, we've always sort of. You call me an anti-American.
Yeah, we butt heads. But
we butted heads, but I've got nothing but the utmost respect for somebody that has done something that I never did, or I don't even know if I could do.
Well, my thing is like, do you think I agree with the government half the time?
Right.
No, it's more about, the troops and, what that flag represents to me personally. When I look at that flag, like I said, I'm not looking at the fucking government.
Right.
I'm looking at the people that made this fucking country.
And that's what it always came down to was I support the shit out of the troops, but I hate the government that has them over there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can't go too far into detail about that, but yeah, there's things that piss me off. But
yeah, because it seems like all the guys I know that have been in the military, for them it just comes down to them and their country and their boys.
Yeah,
like the guys.
Your brother to your left and your brother to your right.
And then who couldn't respect that is the way I look at it.
Does Kynes look a little Chris Kyle-ish to you right now with the hat and the I kind of thought. So yeah, I mean,
I'm a horrible shot.
I'm glad you showed up. That was pretty amazing. It's always magic on the CaveCast. It's always magic somehow. It's magical shit happens.
You know how it is when you're watching movies and there's stuff that's just out of your knowledge.
Yeah,
that's what it was. That's all it was. It just wasn't a bad horrible movie, in my opinion. And I think it's, as far as that guy goes, Chris Kyle. He's just another dude that went and did his job.
Well, he's one of the most notorious snipers, though.
Oh, and by the way,
he did a good job at his job. He had a job to do, and if he has the most confirmed kills, then I guess he did.
Now, is that the most confirmed kills in the operation, or is that of all time? Or
I do not know.
Me neither, actually.
I know one of the most famous Marine snipers was what's his name, Carlos Hathcock or Hancock, from back in the way back in the day.
What
he was like
that?
pretty much the guy
World War II?
Shit.
I can't imagine it's Vietnam because there's not a lot
I feel sad that I don't know. But I don't know. But I
He's
just
slipping,
know that
son.
he was pretty much the guy that founded Marine Corps snipers.
Yeah. So
Soviet
you
Union had like girl snipers. Remember that thing I posted?
That was crazy.
Team
looking.
of girl snipers the Soviet Union had.
Did you ever see the movie Enemy at the Gates?
Yes, I did.
That was a really
It's a
good
good movie.
sniper movie.
Yeah.
I thought
I haven't seen that one.
we were kind of
You should
talking
watch
about
it.
our
It's a really good movie.
because I've always liked war movies. We were kind of talking about our favorite war movies, and that was a good one. That filthy sex scene where they got dirt on their faces, and it's like, oh, you're getting some sort of an infection from this probably. But that was so hot because they're just like, there's sleeping people all around them, and they're just trying to be quiet while they're fucking, and there's just dirt all over,
Yeah.
dirt behind their ears and shit. And
I took a cold shower after that.
yes, sir.
No,
Just to get the jizz off.
well, they say though, like girls are naturally better shots. Like if
I've
they're
always heard
trained.
that, too.
And the
Yeah,
reason
yeah.
being is because they hold a longer natural respiratory pause than a man does. And when you get trained to shoot,
What about who's Amanda?
Huh? Oh, shut up, knee slapper. But that's when they teach you to shoot or how to shoot in the Marines is on your naturatory pause because you're in your like stance of like where you're gonna be every time.
My problem, because I only got into shooting as of last year and started hunting and stuff. My problem with my shot still is my flinch.
Oh, jerking the gun.
I still flinch when I'm shooting my rifle, and
Dude.
I doing everything I can to get over
Slow,
it.
steady squeeze. man.
That gets people for years if they don't address it.
I'm trying, man, and I'm trying.
Archery is the
every
same
tip.
way.
Have you ever tried? You got a sling on your rifle?
Yeah.
So try doing like a hasty sling.
What's that?
It's just when you hasting is like you have your sling right. You
Right.
put your arm through the sling, then go under and wrap around, and then grab your buttstock so it sits right in your shoulder.
Okay.
And it will be steady. So like if you're just sitting here holding it like this,
Right.
it won't move on you.
I'll try it.
We gotta all go shooting one of these days.
That'd be fun.
I can officially be around guns again, you guys. So that's cool.
Right on.
The minor probation is over. So yeah, I mean, goddamn, I can't believe this whole CaveCast so far has been that. But that's so awesome that you showed up.
Yeah, I got that shit.
Got a little
cleared
more.
up a little bit.
Got some questions answered that we had in the first half.
Overall, though, as far as the debate goes, I think it's not a bad movie. And, listen, that guy got caught in some lies, I guess. Not that had to do with the military, but had to
Right.
do with stuff out after he was
Yeah.
out. When I listened to him on interviews and stuff, he seemed like a laid back guy.
The
fair
Opie and
guy.
Anthony episode that he
To
was
me.
on, I saw that one, and he was cracking a little,
He
cracking
did not
jokes.
seem
and,
like a coward or any of the shit that people are trying to play. He just seemed like a
Yeah.
good dude who did his job. To me.
Well, here's my standpoint. Like the movie or not, if you don't like the movie, that's fine. But don't bash the military for it because you don't
Right.
like that movie. Don't call snipers cowards because you
Yeah.
don't like that movie. Unless you've been there and you can bring up a valid point on why you feel that way,
Right.
then don't come to me with that shit.
other than that, your uncle was killed. Really, fuck Michael Moore. Like,
Yeah.
he's done some decent work, but the guy, he's the opposite side of Anthony Cumia, where I agree with some of the stuff that he says,
But he's too
he
far.
Just takes it too
to
far
one end.
sometimes.
Yeah, there's both sides. There's always like people are so married to staying with their group or their side that they won't give up even a single point anywhere.
Well, yeah, that's such a bad
You know what I
problem
mean?
with people too,
Yeah.
and that's the way it is. Like,
There is gray in the world.
even if you might
It's
agree
all
with
great.
something on a couple of occasions with a different party or a different person, you won't
Yeah.
admit to it. 'Cause
Right.
You're just an ass. Like,
yeah, like I consider myself more of a Democrat than a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
But lately I've had to admit that I'm embarrassed of
I don't want
Democrats.
anything to do with either one of them.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
fucking-
the Democrats are a huge problem right now as far as the political correctness, and they're the party that's first to call you racist or xenophobic or
Yeah.
whatever because that's their go-to now.
And it's what we were talking
to
about. is
discredit you
throwing
is to
around-
call you just to call you a name, and then no one can listen to you.
throwing around those conversation enders,
Right.
the racist.
Well,
And that's
the
my
fucking-
party, for the most part, and they're the worst about it.
You know one thing that really fucking bugs me? I hate this shit to like a passion. And this is what irritates me about certain things about our government and where this country is going. Look at like a president campaign. Okay? When you see those videos of them trying to campaign themselves, all they do is sit there and bash on the other candidate.
Yeah.
Never one time have I seen a campaign to where I actually sit there and be like, oh, that's what he stands for.
Right.
No, it's all about what this guy's doing wrong.
I'll give you one example to the contrary of that, and it's always been Ron Paul. The guy that fucking, when he first came out and decided he was going to try to run for the presidency in 2004,
Yeah.
I want to say, I was like, oh my God, this is the guy that's saying stuff that none of these other motherfuckers have the balls to say.
Neither side.
Yeah.
He's saying.
He was going to run as a Republican, but he's more libertarian than anything, but you got to pick a fucking party to run for. And,
Yeah,
and that's stupid too.
yeah, it is. It's
It
dumb.
really is. Why do you have to be on one side? I mean,
And if you want to run independent, you're basically taking votes away from another side, or vice versa, and it cancels itself out. So you're not going to get.
you're not going to get anywhere, and you're not going to get the funding either.
Yeah.
It is real. It's the joke's already been made and stuff, but it is really ridiculous that, America's giant population, and not just our population, but the effect we have everywhere else, can't or shouldn't be represented by two parties.
Yeah.
Like, it's just too complex. There's too many issues
There's way too many.
And like you
for
said,
there to
there's
be
so
two
much
parties.
gray.
Right.
There's a lot in between there that's gray. That
And if you were going to have just two parties, these two parties would have to be super flexible. And neither one of them are. They're
neither budge.
Exactly.
one of them believes wholeheartedly in God and everything the Bible stands for, and the other one thinks you shouldn't chop down trees.
Right.
So it's
Or you could almost go like problem for problem, and they're just going to go to the extremes for each one. It's like, don't you guys ever meet in the middle on any fucking?
They can't. Do
On
it.
one far problem, isn't there one where both sides go, yeah, let's meet here, and that's ridiculous. But no, it's almost like you have to go this way or that way.
And I think it's going along with religion, so to speak. How like there's people that say religion is going to be, it's going to be gone, in 30 years or something like that, because you come across. It's changed.
I understand that, but I am religious, but I don't sit there and I don't harp or anything, and I'm not closed-minded to other suggestions.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
well, you can't take the Bible word for word either, because it used to be like you posted before about the rape victims and stuff, which it says what it says in the Bible. Eventually, culturally, that became not cool,
Right.
and the stoning your kids for disobeying you and not respecting thine father, and
the laws in Leviticus were kind of, like my dad even kind of said, were written for that time.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work. You can't stone people for not working on the Sabbath in 2015.
Right.
So you got to take, at the very least, there's nothing wrong with keeping your faith in God.
Right.
Or even appreciating what Jesus taught as far as how we treat each other.
That's the one that I always go back to.
But there is a problem with holding on to ancient religious dogma that doesn't fit into our civilization now.
And which is
And that involves, hating gay people or stoning people for not working on this, or for working on the Sabbath. Mm-hmm. Or if you rape a woman, your only punishment is you pay 50 shekels and you have to marry her.
Yeah.
Like, these are things that just don't fit in our current civilization. But that doesn't mean that you have to throw that out with God and
right.
You can keep your faith, but move
with the times. Yeah.
Well, I have to say that's well said.
Yeah.
I can't sit here and disagree with that. That was
Well,
really
and
well said.
before you got here, we had a long conversation about Islam and the problems that are faced with that.
Yeah,
and I believe that
their moderate
Christianity has, as much as they don't want to necessarily admit it, they've conceded points over time that culturally are not relevant anymore.
And I'm glad they did too.
Yeah, exactly. Where just like you said about the gays and the rape and the
or whatever, you
disobeying.
can pick in numerous different areas where Christians went, this doesn't really work now.
Yeah, the problem you run into with Islam is that they haven't done that.
Yeah.
They have stringently stuck
Or a
to
too big of a
Christians
group.
had stuck to everything we'd be the same. We'd be in the same boat as Muslims.
Right.
Yeah.
And we'd be doing the same thing.
There was a time, like I keep pointing out, where the script was flipped, where Muslims were holding our math and our philosophy.
They created algebra, correct?
The Dark Ages, and it was the Christians in Europe that didn't know how to read and all this stuff. There was a time where it was flipped for a while during the Dark Ages.
And then the Mongols came along.
Right. And then the Mongols came along and crushed
Wasn't Iraq the educational fucking center of the world?
At one time, believe it or not, the Muslim world was the pinnacle of knowledge for a period of time around the Dark Ages. But to look at them now, you would never.
You just couldn't
think so.
see it because it was dark.
Yeah. You need
Another swing and a miss.
So much conflict, you know. And another thing that pisses me off though too is being I've been to quite a bit of countries, and I'll tell you what, not a lot of people like Americans.
Yeah.
I mean, can you blame them? I mean, look at the shit that's on our fucking TV anymore.
I can't blame, because I watch stuff and get
16
disgusted.
and pregnant, really? That's what
Bad
we're
Girls
show?
Club. My girlfriend likes watching Bad Girls Club just because she's not like that at all, but she enjoys and I watched it and I could not stop bashing.
Well, that's the thing.
She enjoyed none of it because I could not stop.
What you've been to a lot of countries? Would you say we are perceived as the top?
We are perceived
the most powerful?
as fat and lazy. That's what we're perceived at, and that we're greedy. Because
I'm not talking about just the contents of this room right now.
Well, I'm saying though, like, it's because of the shit that's on TV. And yes, we have the freedom to watch whatever we want. I have no problem. You put whatever you want on TV.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, these days, you drive around in just green right now. How many kids did I see out playing in the street? None.
Right.
When I was a fucking kid, you couldn't get me in the house. When the street lights came on, I knew how to come in home.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, me, Dan, riding bikes all the time when we were
dude,
younger.
I would hear a whistle from 17 blocks away.
When
and
mom whistled, you got your ass in the house.
Yeah.
We'd play baseball, basketball, football out in the park that that me and Anthony and Dylan grew up in. We'd be playing sports from when the sun came up till it was too dark to play.
Until you
or
ran
even
out
past too dark to play.
I have a documentary you guys should watch. It's called Fed Up.
Yeah.
It's about the eating habits of America and where we're going, and it's not good.
No, they're fattening us up, and that's the whole agenda.
That's what brought me to the hunting thing.
Yeah,
is I was like, I want to grow my own food. I want to start learning now and get good enough that I could teach Alex how to grow his own food, how to hunt his own food, how to fish for his own food, because the direction that our commercial food is going is killing us. Like,
well, and with Darian, I've really tried to make an effort to not. The easy thing is to go to McDonald's and get some chicken.
And I still do that.
And why not? Because it's 99 cents.
And occasionally,
you're broke. You can eat.
You're in that position exactly. But the one thing for as far as diet is concerned that I heard that was the most genius thing and simply put thing that I've ever heard is if you picked it or killed it, then you're good. You're good to go, basically.
Yeah, because that's the goal with all of the factory stuff now. Like, what's it called? The fucking hippie store you go to buy your food. Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Everything that they're popular for is what you can do yourself.
Right.
If you take a deer in the woods, that's grass fed as you can get.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
No hormone.
That's organic. Yeah. And that's why I got interested in it. Is not only so I can learn how to do it. It takes time to learn how to become a good hunter.
Right.
And I'm still learning, so I can put that food in our freezer. But then hopefully I can pass that knowledge on to Alex, and he can choose whether he wants to be a guy who eats all of his food at the grocery store, or he could be a dude who has tomatoes and peppers in his yard and gets salmon and deer every year, and he can live that. At least he has the choice. Growing up, man,
he knows that's an
option. Or
option.
even just be able to do a little bit of both,
right.
Not solely so concentrated on eating all this nasty shit that's in our food anymore.
Right, just having that option of going like, I've eaten a lot of McDonald's and ice cream this week. I'm gonna make sure I eat some vegetables and some fucking
try
venison.
to balance it out a little bit.
And I didn't have that option when I was a kid. My mom was poor. We ate what we could afford. Hamburger Helper, that's just the way it was. And I think about that stuff all the time. I'll definitely check it out. There's another one called King Corn where it tells you about how corn is in everything and how bad that is for us. And there's lots of these documentaries that are coming out that people are learning more about the food they eat, and it's kind of scary.
Well, I definitely recommend watching that Fed Up.
I
watched it, and of course, documentaries are going to persuade you to that.
Yep.
That one side, and they're probably going to throw out a couple of facts that aren't really facts.
Stretch it.
But overall, I mean, it's a pretty good watch, and it definitely will open your eyes a little bit. And as far as your question goes about other countries thinking we're the top power, it never really got it brought up as any countries I went to.
Right.
But other than that, a lot of people just got the wrong idea of what Americans are because they see what they see on TV and they just assume that's what everybody's like in the U.S.
Right.
But
honey boo boo.
Well, I asked about the
We're
power.
all honey boo boo.
I asked about the power part
Hashtag.
because it seems like it no matter who the country is, any country that is perceived as like that's the powerful country, that's the most. It seems like they would be unpopular with the other countries, But I can see the point where they look at our entertainment and our way of life and just go, where's the good in that?
Yeah.
If they just, it's like that joke where they talk about if aliens looked at studied our life based on our cable, like they would just be disgusted with us. Like you said, if all aliens knew of us was they tapped into our satellite and seen what we watched on TV, they would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
And the Joe Rogan thing was, how the fuck do you explain Kim Kardashian to an alien?
Yes, exactly. Like she's famous for what?
Yeah,
like
she's one of the richest people in America because she did a porn one time, and then people wanted to see what her stupid family did on a daily basis.
I can see that, and I know that America, not from experience of going like you have, but I know just from being online and stuff that America's not popular elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I've always been curious as to what all the reasons are.
I feel like that a lot of it is planned. We are programmed to look at other countries as a bunch of animals and fucking savages, and then what they see from our programming, which is TV and stuff like that. We look like a bunch of fucking savages.
Yeah, but like let's take a country like France. That France usually it looks down on America or looks.
Yeah, and France can kiss my ass because that country is a bunch of pussies.
That's why I picked them. Is because of the tension between America and France. Now, France has their
freedom fries, y'all.
France has their bad opinion of us, but does France have that same bad opinion of every other country that's not across the pond? Mm-hmm. There's like I wonder sometimes if the ocean part of it, of just being separated by the ocean and not being connected, has anything to do with because we're kind of unique. Is we have
the youngest country.
We have a hand in all these countries' businesses, but we're also not even connected to them,
and we owe money to a lot of them as well.
They all hate us until they have a natural disaster, and all of a sudden they want our aid. Oh, now we're friends.
Mm-hmm. They have a terrorist attack, and all of a sudden, they want to liberate their area from Gaddafi.
Yeah, guys.
Then all of a sudden we get phone calls saying, "Hey, help us out."
We want to give you our aids. Yeah. It's just that, if you talk shit about us, we're not going to give you our aids willingly. We're not going to spray our aids all over.
Oh, if you want, all you got to do is ask, and we'll give you the aids.
Well, hell, it seems like we do more for other countries half the time than we do for our own.
That's a good argument. That's one that Ron Paul used to make, which was like, and he listed all the money we give to like Pakistan. Like, I didn't know we gave Pakistan all the money. Why? And there's got to be a reason for it, I guess, and that I'm not aware of. But it's strange.
Try to build allies.
When you watch, like, when you look at pictures of Detroit, and then you go look up the amount of money we give to Pakistan, I know that there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
That I like you said, building allies, strategic positioning, and all that stuff.
But at the same time, Pakistan's known to harbor terrorists. Look where they found Bin Laden.
Right.
I mean, come on.
And he's not the only one. And they're backwards in the way they deal with us. They're dishonest. I have a hard time buying that they had no intelligence that Osama bin Laden was in their country.
They know other.
Well, you should look at it this way. Okay, say, because me and you both spent our time enjoying a little too much of the chemical variety of things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you've got a guy that is a pile of shit. He's a dishonest thing, but he's also got the hookup.
Yeah.
So you have to deal with that guy. And you also, you don't want to deal with him, but you know that you have to.
Like Iran.
So you, where?
Yeah.
I don't think you have.
No, I mean like the country Iran. I don't run anywhere.
Yeah, I'm saying, you know, you have to deal with this drug dealer because you want what he's got, what he can get you. But you also know you're putting yourself in a weird situation. So I'm not sure if America's the drug dealer or if, you know, Pakistan or whatever is the drug dealer. But they're both, they don't trust each other, but they know they have to work. He wants your money, you want his pills.
Like the weird relationship we have with China.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like we even snipe at each other and through the media, China,
yeah.
America does, but we also have this weird business relationship.
Well, there's a lot of shit that goes on behind closed doors. I mean, let's get
Right.
realistic. There's a lot of shit that happens that we don't hear about. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or they try to create issues to distract. And I'm not trying to sound like one of them fucking like government fucking crazies, but
No, I'm not either.
mean,
Why did you wear that tinfoil on your head in here?
But there's a lot of shit that goes on that we as the people do not.
Well, that's
know
just
about.
that's just fact. I mean, there's business and deals being made that we don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
Being a crazy conspiracy theorist, I think, is whenever you start claiming to know.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Well, all we're saying is there's shit going on that we don't know.
We give it a little side eye and go, "What's up with that?"
Yeah, there's definitely shit going on that we don't know about.
Well, if you look at it, history repeats itself, and you can look back on history, and there's all kinds of shit that happened behind closed doors, and that is now known about.
Right. That comes out in the wash later, and you go,
once it's over.
man, if they would have known about that at the time, they would have fucking flipped.
Yeah.
Well, and you look back at half the conspiracy theorists and you go, "Oh shit, they actually did. They got that one right."
Well, that's the problem with a lot of conspiracies is that there's some sort of, you know, truth to it, but that sometimes they just took it to an area where it got out of hand.
Well,
you
just
know?
like any story, we can get a group of 12 people, whisper one word,
Right.
and by the time it gets to that 12th person, the word's completely different.
Right.
And that is a thing that angers me so much is a person, the seventh person in that line will hear something and they'll tell it to the eighth person in line as 100% fact.
Right. It's that
nothing makes me
it's when
more
it gets
angry.
to that person that when he goes, "This is fact."
I deal with
and he
this shit
doesn't
at
know what he's
work
talking
because
about.
we have questions about something and I go to the guy that's supposed to have the answers and he tells me a whim.
Right.
Like he tells me whatever he thinks at the time and then I find out a week later
Right.
that something and it just fucking infuriates me. That's why I try to say like I don't know this for sure.
Right, and you
know?
should clarify that at all times. That like, look, I don't know. For
Don't
sure,
take this.
but,
Yeah, don't take this
like,
as gospel.
what's the mother lode of all conspiracy theories these days?
Gotta be 9/11.
The 9/11.
9/11 or
Yeah.
What's that? New World Order.
Yep. No,
The cabal. The Illuminati.
if you
I guess.
take 9/11, the truthers believe that the government actively not only allowed this to happen but had a hand in it.
Right.
Now you could take that's the extreme crazy version, but you could take like the seed of that might have some truth to it. Could be that the government didn't allow it to happen on purpose or didn't have a hand in it, but maybe the government didn't do enough at the time to prevent it.
Well, he did.
That might be true.
He warned Bush. He said that he was going to attack the U.S. at some point.
So you might have a seed of like that's truthful. Like maybe the government didn't react soon enough or didn't do what they could have, and then that gets turned into we not only do we know about it, but we had a hand in it.
And for a long time, you know, after the was it Loose Change and the other one that came out,
Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
But Fahrenheit
Fahrenheit.
doesn't claim that George Bush. I don't remember. I only watched it when it first came out.
There's a lot of compelling stuff there, and they had me not quite going, okay, this was for sure an inside job, but they had me going,
because we don't know.
I can see some of this happening until I heard on a podcast one time a truther going into his stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can't go with that guy.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah, there's some
I
that
can't-
are just
I
really
cannot
out there.
associate
I mean,
myself.
they really stretch. It reminds me of that TV show Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen that, but sometimes they really
put it
reach
on
for it.
Yeah, that's what I mean, and you could maybe trace all the craziness back to a little seed of truth that makes sense.
Yeah,
but by the time it gets all the way out to its its most biggest it gets out of hand. It gets to the point where it gets all the way to the point where George Bush has Osama bin Laden hiding in his basement at his personal house while the planes are hitting the buildings.
Yeah.
So it gets that ridiculous at the end of the day, even though it might start off in a place that actually makes sense.
Well, like you said, there's always going to be some truth. There's always a little bit of truth behind anything.
And even I don't know if you guys have ever seen that clip of Bill Clinton on Fox News where it says Bill Clinton shreds Fox News. What's his name sits Bill Clinton down? This is after Bill Clinton's out of office.
Bill O'Reilly.
Not Bill O'Reilly, the other one, the older dude. It's on YouTube, anyways. You look it up. Bill answers questions specifically about Bin Laden, and he says, that I had him in my sights and I was going to kill him, and he uses the words, I was kill him.
Oh, you know what I've seen? I think I've seen this.
Yeah, and he paints a picture of that he had people that were calling him crazy and obsessed. He said people called me obsessed for how hard I was going after him, and I left them a comprehensive report on how to follow up on where I was at the time, and they didn't take it. So that might be true. Whether it is true or not, I don't know. Whether the Bush administration dropped the ball when they first came into office because they had other shit on their minds. That might be true, might not be true. But then it gets down to, there it is. But then it gets all the way out of hand to Osama bin Laden is hiding in Bush's house.
At the same time, not to back up Bush or nothing, our country's constantly in threat. Our country's constantly getting, threats or whatever. I mean, when's the point of we take this serious and we just put this down for right now?
And that's what I mean.
How do you level it out?
Right.
I mean,
you don't. How many threats are on his desk?
Yeah.
And which one is more serious than the other? And you don't have the resource to just attack or go prepare for every threat. Otherwise, you would never have a plane leaving an airport, Yeah.
I do disagree with Obama's downsizing our military, though, especially with all that shit going on with Russia. That's when he was doing it, too.
Yeah.
I disagree with that.
It just seems like there's, the one thing about the conspiracy theories and stuff that I do feel like they have right is the whole oil thing, because there's nothing on earth that if you control something that is more beneficial and more profit, garnering than an oil thing.
For your
and
country.
You can see it. You can see North Korea, has threatened America how many times in the last 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, a lot.
And supposedly we're testing nuclear devices, and we've not done a thing about it except for make a movie and let it be released,
right?
Of us, and
then Iran because Iran, I guess, snubbed their nose at us a little bit as far as they're seeking nuclear weapons.
They're pretty close to being a superpower, right?
But we're also super fucking busy fighting other stuff too. So that's like to say, why aren't we in North Korea yet? We were currently fighting two fronts, kind of. Also, it's like there is an issue of manpower, and like you said, he just maybe took some power away from the military by shrinking it or not allowing it to get bigger. Right. And in a time where we're literally fighting in
I feel like
places.
There's a lot of money too is going into those. I mean, how many wars can you really afford? I mean,
yeah. So
that's
there's there's that 1%er type thing where some people do make money off of wars. That is a known fact.
Well, the people that make the stuff, the people that you can argue the people that make the weapons.
It's hard to ignore Cheney's hand in was it Blackwater, or he was a part owner of either Blackwater or the other
Dynacore,
independent
Blackwater,
military
Dynacore, and
there's one more that I can't think of.
I don't know those groups.
But it's hard to ignore some of that stuff. Anyways, fuck. I'm not gonna play this video because there's 2 parts to it, and there's
and I gotta
16
take
minutes.
off pretty soon. So
how soon?
What time is it?
It is 4:30.
I could probably do another half hour, maybe.
Yeah, we don't need that much. I do want to get into briefly this Marshawn Lynch thing but I'm not a Seahawks fan by any means, and I really dig Marshawn Lynch, he was fined an exorbitant. Jesus Christ, I'm fucking
spit it out.
I'm retarded. He was fined a whole bunch of money
There we go.
for not showing up to these press conferences, like 50 G's type of money. Like,
Really?
yeah, for not showing up to press conferences and talking to reporters, which is in his contract that he's got to do apparently.
Right.
This dude has been fined close to $500,000 over the last 4 or 5 years
That's insane.
for wearing the wrong color shoes, for not going to press conferences, for a second time wearing the wrong color shoes. And it's just it boggles my mind. And then he started doing this. I don't know if you guys have seen the interview. Where he goes, okay, fine, motherfuckers, I'll go talk to the reporters, and here, I'll play.
Kind of like the both teams played hard.
Yeah.
Remember Wallace, or what's his name? Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah,
he goes,
Rasheed.
Both teams played hard.
Sheed
That's all he
squad.
would say.
Yeah.
Both teams played hard.
Here's the deal. You got NFL fucking leave Marshawn Lynch alone, please. First of all, do you think he's got it bad enough in life being a black dude with the last name Lynch? I mean, you just fucking.
Well, who sues him for the shoes? Is it the team
It's
or
the
the
NFL.
So the NFL suing him each for all this stuff.
Yeah, it's the NFL. Here, I'll play this one. But this was his response to.
How about the effort of the offensive line just to keep pounding it against the tough defense today?
Yeah. Okay, hold on 1 second. Sure.
This is the greatest thing ever.
All right, how about the effort of the offensive line to keep pushing against the defensive attack so aggressively?
Yeah.
How does that defense compare to others that you've seen this year?
Yeah.
I wonder if he gets fined for that.
Nope. He's talking to him.
A little bit there. What was going on with the back on it? Obviously, got back in there. Yeah.
How important was it to keep the ball on the ground and run out the clock, especially in the fourth quarter when you know this team is so good in the fourth quarter?
Yeah. How did your
If I was a reporter, though, I would have been like, so is it true that you sucked dick?
Yeah, right. I went through some.
No, that's why I think they never break character. They fucking.
I know.
They go with it the whole time. They
'Cause they're
just keep
robots.
answering their stupid. Yeah, exactly.
Feel Marshawn? Yeah.
You got those heating pads in your cleats?
I got a foundation dinner at the Edgewater on December 14th. To help benefit the inner city youth out in Oakland. We're trying to raise money to build a youth center. So yeah.
Yeah.
Marshawn, every win is big, but just can you talk about this win against Arizona today? Yeah. Really big game against 49ers next week. Yeah.
He's loving it. He's like,
Yeah.
fuck
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys.
The defense today and how they played out there today. Yeah.
It's a real.
Anything else that you had today?
No. That's what he should throw.
Yeah.
Talking about little Boozy. You got any questions about that?
Boost.
See if you get that kid right. You're getting Kansas. Jeez. We said it coming.
Those hard yards on the ground that you're going to make up for it. Catch the ball.
He's just like, really? We're gonna keep doing this?
Maybe. Marshawn dancing with the cheerleaders every day of the game. Is that something you just had planned, or was that kind of a spontaneous feeling? I don't know. Still having fun, Marshawn? Yeah.
Serious question. Is it going to be tough to rebound for Thursday? Everybody's kind of sore, banged up into the season.
You can hear it in her voice, just like, I gotta fucking ask this question.
Yeah.
I have to. And then
Yeah.
Maybe.
We switched it up.
What was your juice.
Should I talk about the Cardinals' defense?
Marshawn, it came out last week that you had a gay orgy with 6 white dudes, and I just wanted to know if you think that really happened or not.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well,
here's the weird thing about him getting sued or him getting fined for not talking to reporters. Not every player has to talk, or it talks to reporters every day.
It's just
it's
mainly
only
your
the popular
key,
ones,
your key players.
So I don't know if you were to go dispute one of those fines, if you couldn't win, because you're going, well, how often, that's the part that I guess I'm curious about, is how often is he contractually obligated?
Yeah, I think it's in their contract that they have to talk to
Well,
the
then
press.
he's kind of stuck, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
He is. But
in that case, but the shoes thing is kind of silly.
This one's funny. This was a very recent one.
Y'all want to try
Damn it.
again? So y'all gonna try again? That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try one more time. One more time. One more try. One more try. We got one more try. I mean, y'all can try all y'all want, but that's what we got. I don't know what to tell you.
I wonder why he hates interviews so much.
Because, dude, he's done with the media's bullshit, basically.
I can't blame him on that.
I
mean, yeah, that makes sense.
You've been there, dude. Yeah. You were an all-conference defensive end in high school where they interviewed you, and how many of your statements did they even print? They made shit up for you, right? Yeah.
Really?
Our local newspaper it didn't matter what he said. They reworded his shit, and they took what they wanted and added what they wanted, and that was it.
That would be infuriating, man.
Imagine having to do that he's been in the NFL for what, 8 years?
Long time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I just.
Should I talk about the celebration dance at the camp transfer session?
Physically can't do it.
What do you say how you guys battled, especially as a freshman? They were bringing up front in the third quarter to really break through the run defense.
I'm thankful.
I'm thankful.
Talk about your performance in the second half of Big Red. I'm thankful.
Marshawn, can you tell us a little bit about the team before you?
I'm thankful.
When's your next charity event?
I'm thankful.
See, they even asked him about the charity just to try to get some sort of soundbite out of him, and nothing. Well, fucking.
You know what I think the right thing to do there is for the people that ask the questions.
Yeah.
To just take their microphones and cameras and go to one of the guys that wants it.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone that actually
just
wants
leave
to
the
be
guy
talk to a second string left guard.
There's a guy on that team that would love nothing more than to be in Marshawn's shoes.
Yeah.
And just go to those guys and leave the guys that don't want it alone.
But that doesn't get you the clickbait of Marshawn Lynch's name.
And that the reason why we're watching this clip is because it's funny, and that's why they went at. They knew they were going to.
Well, it's just like James Harris when they did Hard Knocks when he played for the Bengals. He refused to do anything with the camera. Every time the camera went on him, he would just turn his back.
Mm-hmm.
Who was that?
James Harris. He played for Steelers. I think he's actually back on the Steelers again.
Yeah, I watched the Hard Knocks with the Bengals.
Yeah, and I just feel like I think everybody in this room would get to that same level of I'm so sick of this bullshit.
Especially if what happened to Ramon happened to me. Like if they were taking
one time,
what I said
one time is all that would take.
Yeah, I would be like, all right, you guys, I'm done with you. It would be really hard to keep going with that going on.
You're not going to want to print the next interview you get out of me. Basically.
Just come up with some red. Super califragilistic, man. Yeah. You like that?
Yeah, how about I ask you the questions? What's the deal with fucking fabricating my fucking answers last time, you cocksucker? Yeah.
I actually still have a couple of those newspaper articles in my scrapbook. Yeah. And I don't remember saying that.
Exactly.
That is way too intelligent of words for me.
I don't even know what that word means, let alone how to say it, pronounce it, or spell it.
Right.
So, okay, well, we'll finish this off real quick. We're almost done. I did want to talk about Conor McGregor. He's got the shot against Jose Aldo. Did you watch the fight? last Saturday?
I did not, but I heard some shit that kind of makes me not like that guy. I don't know how true the story is because it didn't come from the horse's mouth, but someone was telling me that he came to the U.S., lived off of welfare so he can train full time.
No, not true.
Okay.
Already not true. He lived off of welfare in Ireland before he was in the UFC, before anything. He basically did it because he had to.
Well, I don't care if he's doing it in Ireland. From what I heard, it sounded like he came over here and did it. So obviously I was misinformed.
Not at all. He was trying to become a professional fighter, and he didn't have time to. I think he did duct work or some sort of construction work, and it basically became, I need to train for these 8 hours a day that I'm working.
See, I fell victim of the 12-man circle, man.
The game telephone. No, but after the fight on Saturday, he fucking Jose Aldo, the featherweight champ, was ringside, and he knocks out Dennis Seaver, which is it went to the second round. He called 2 minutes. He said, "I'll put him away in under 2 minutes. He can't stand with me." As soon as he feels the pressure, he's going down. But it took him till the second round. But he put him away, and he's running around with his hands up, like excited about the win. And then all of a sudden, you see him as he's running in a circle. You see him see Jose Aldo, and he finishes his circle and he turns back. Fucking bolts to the side of the cage, hops over the cage, climbs up it, jumps out into the crowd, and fucking gets in Jose Aldo's face going, yeah, and he's doing the belt thing, and fucking really letting him have it.
Well, it's also, they're gonna try to promote.
Well,
their fight
he is one of the
possible.
best promoters. It's sort of Chael Sonnen-esque with Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
How. And that's the thing is, I don't know. Conor's he's one of my favorite fighters.
Yeah.
Just because his striking game, the way I'm an expert in human movement, and like he really fucking he is.
I want you to speak like that for the rest of the day,
dude. Don't get me started because I've done it for 3 weeks, like at a pop before.
He watches those fucking Irish videos.
Yeah,
and shit.
Those bare knuckle fights.
Oh,
the fucking
shite in a bucket.
The fucking McGinleys and the McGregors are going to fight.
I've
got to fight it out. Me dad will fight your dad.
I watched a documentary of it on called
Notorious
Bare Knuckle. I think
you're talking about the actual gypsy bare knuckle fighters.
Yeah. It was on Netflix. It must still be there.
There's a documentary on McGregor.
Yeah, it's called Notorious. That's his nickname. But no, he is a very exciting, very amazing. His striking game, I think, is pretty incredible. I feel like he's going to get chewed up by Jose Aldo's leg kicks because that's another guy whose striking is pretty incredible. But I've seen Jose been pushed by good kickboxers.
Yeah.
So I think.
What do you do against good leg kicks?
You learn how to check them.
Man up.
You learn how to check them, which if you eat a leg kick without checking it, you're going to be able to take maybe 6 of those unchecked leg kicks right to the thigh. It's like somebody hitting you with a baseball.
Yeah, I've seen that picture of that one dude's leg. The next day was just his leg was ballooned. And
it was
purple.
probably a Jose Aldo fight. It was probably California kid. It was Uriah Faber.
It was Faber's leg the next day.
Stats aren't kicked me one time, and I dropped like a brick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't get up.
So if you're trained and you have somewhat deadened nerves, you're going to be able to take maybe 6 of those before your leg doesn't even work anymore.
Right.
Now, if you check them with your knee, you bring your leg up and check them with your shin and your knee, his leg is going to slap you horizontally, and it's not going to do the damage.
The blood of the blow.
But there's not a lot of people that are better kickers than Jose Aldo in the game. And Conor's style is a little too flashy to get away from somebody who's that pinpoint of a striker.
Right.
So he's going to have to tone it back a little bit, but I still think he's going to give him trouble. But I also could see him getting chewed up and being too cocky to...
When are they fighting? Or is it even...
May, is that Memorial Day? Is May Memorial Day or is that Labor Day?
May.
I think May's...
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day is usually around my birthday, May 30th.
Yeah, okay, so they're shooting for Memorial Day. Anyways, that's been the CaveCast today. Let's wrap this shit up so we can all get out of here and get on to our perspective. Read that note right there. I'll tell you what I got to do.
Don't read it out loud.
Don't read it out loud. Got plans tonight. All right.
Have fun with that.
I'm Mad Meyer. Thanks to Kynes and Moni for stepping in. Moni for answering us some questions that we couldn't do ourselves.
Yet.
And Yeah. Fucking, we'll see you next week. And, I guess plug it up. St. Kynes on Twitter, at St. Kynes. Moni, just, hit me up and I'll convey the message to him. And follow the Cave Music Productions Facebook page. Like it. Love it. Spread the word. And is there anything else that I need to... I want to plug the CMP CaveCast. You should listen to that. They already there. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, have a good weekend and enjoy. Hopefully we get a beautiful day tomorrow too, and here in sunny but brisk Roseburg, Oregon. Signing out. I feel like there's something else I needed to say, but song of the week. Jose Gonzalez. Brazilian. Jose Gonzalez. The song Crosses, and tell your moms that it was so sad.
Peace.
Don't you know that I'll be around to guide you through your weakest moments, to leave them behind you. Returning nightmares, only shadows. Cast some light and you'll be alright. Cast some light and you'll be alright for now. Crosses all over, heavy on your shoulders. The sirens inside you, waiting to step forward. Disturbing silence darkens your sight. Cast some light and you'll be alright. Cast some light and you'll be alright for now. Crosses all over the boulevard. 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 The streets outside your window overflowed. People staring, they know you've been broken. Repeatedly reminded by the looks on their faces. Ignore them tonight and you'll be alright. Cast some light and